Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tom Matuska with the Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, once again with Brett Wingfield, our camera girl Kirsten, and Amber's at the dentist today, I think with her son. Mandy's in Las Vegas with her husband.
Oh my gosh.
I think he won a trip. Just before he left, I think he tried to cut his toe off with a chainsaw. So we're getting pictures back with a bandaged up big toe at the slot machines and stuff like that. And so that's pretty interesting to hear the whole story because I haven't heard it.
And guess who's watching?
Oh no, is she watching?
She is.
Oh gosh. Mandy, we miss you and apologize in advance for this might not be your idea of what to do, but we're going to do a smorgasbord today. We're going to go through the shop and show you some of the fun projects that we've been working on, both in the taxidermy department as well as for the supply company. We've got some really exciting things that we do for both, and thought maybe some of you might really like seeing what we do. We do this day in and day out, and sometimes we literally come to work and can't believe we actually get paid for this because we do some really, really fun stuff. And I don't get paid for it, but some of the people do get paid for it. To start it out, this is something that we've got. This will be in the catalog. We've got a couple weeks yet before Mandy goes to print, and maybe we can push it to 3.
I think I heard her just from Las Vegas.
From Las Vegas. Anyway, this is a black bear, and a lot of people sculpt in a lot of different ways, and we like to start with a carcass cast. This was a carcass cast of a frozen, skinned out black bear. From that carcass cast, a mold was made. From that mold, a clay press was made, which gave us something very close to this. Amber's been working on this in her spare time, and with sculpting tools, we've got the measurement sheet, we've got clay that we can enhance. We use a lot of reference pictures, anatomy sheets to show us where the muscles are. We refer to bones as far as the shape of the scapular, the toes, the skull, things like that. So these aren't just thrown together like people would think. I mean, I can give somebody pretty artistic like you a wad of clay and you will come up with the most beautiful mountain lion, for instance, ever, but they gotta fit also. And the only way they're gonna fit is if you use something, like a carcass cast, to start with. So that's how this is. And
You should tell them what kind of clay that is. How come we can still work on this?
this is oil-based clay, and we used to use something called clean clay a few years ago, and clean clay, or any kind of, there's oil-based clays that's a little bit like the modeling clay that you used to use when you were in grade school, and they give you clay and you could shape it, not the Play-Doh type stuff, but the oil-based clay. Then we use a lot of silicone products, silicone rubber, RTV, and that reacts with the sulfur in our modeling clay. So it's best if you ever want to use silicone rubber, make sure that you get a sulfur, non-sulfur based, oil-based clay. Used to be clean clay, and now they're making clean clay substitutes. But it's just a chunk right here. Just nice modeling clay, comes in different firmnesses.
It'll never harden.
Never harden. It does after many, many years. I got a lot of projects in storage that it did harden. But now from this, once this is beautified, we will take an actual tan bearskin that measures the same, nose to eye, male, female, nose to the back of the skull, neck measurements, and we will take that bear skin, we've already done it once on this, and we will put it onto this clay armature, and we will see how it fits as well as how it looks. If it looks hopeful and it looks like it's going to come together without a crazy amount of stretching or loose slack everywhere, and we think it's a go, then she's going to take this and she'll beautify it with sculpting tools and make sure that all the symmetry is right. We take a lot of measurements up the arms, neck measurements, facial measurements. Once it's all beautified, looks like something a customer will buy. Then we will take a damming material and we will make a dam. First we'll spray it with a primer.
Yep.
Then we will sand it and we will take out any little dust imperfections, any pits. We'll fill them with spot putty and we'll treat this probably almost like a Harley Davidson motorcycle fender. You know, I mean, we make these things beautiful before they go to the fiberglass department. Then we will dam it, we will cut, we have to have parting lines in this. We will cut it, stick in our dams. Then the fiberglass department will do it in pieces, and this will probably be 1, 2, 3, I'm thinking 4, 5 pieces with a back.
Removable arms.
Oh yes, we always like to make removable arms too, so we'll have more pieces. And the removable arms, if you see a lot of our products, we like to take the arms off. You can put them on very easy. They index right on this exact position, but we can ship them to you for a fraction of the cost of sticking this big thing in a box. We could probably get this to you without even having an oversized box, or if it is, it's going to be an OS1. So that's kind of how it's done. Then one piece gets fiberglassed, another piece gets fiberglassed, till they're all fiberglassed. Then it'll get cut, then it'll be parted, then the fiberglass mold gets taken apart, sanded on the inside, fix any blemishes on the inside, and it gets waxed and buffed 10 times.
Oh my gosh.
We had a fiberglass fellow work for us one time, and he said, do not try to pour apart until you can see your reflection in the inside finish. And we found that if you do 8 or 9 times, it's going to stick. If you do 10, it's a magic number. We do that 10 times.
We should show them Bobcat. The Bobcat. The
Oh,
Bobcat's a little further along.
Bobcat is another project. This was done. Cindy Christman started us out with some great Bobcat heads, and they've been really popular. We got some nice Bobcats in last fall. We skinned them out, posed them in the position that we thought would be a nice marketable type of a pose, and then we fiberglassed the entire Bobcat. We froze him first, rock hard, then we grab onto the back of that thing and we'll hold him up here. This Bobcat's meant to be climbing uphill a little bit like this, looking down, maybe out of a tree or off a rock ledge or something. The frozen Bobcat was actually molded in a fiberglass mold like this.
This is it, isn't it?
That's
this
it.
is the carcass cast.
Yeah, that's the carcass cast. Then we took the carcass cast apart, and same way that we did the bear, inside, the animal's already skinned out. Inside, we had a tremendous amount of detail. It picked up all the muscle groups. It picked out all the detail of this Bobcat, which takes away a lot of the guesswork. Then we have a size of a Bobcat. We don't have to guess where the joints of the legs are. We don't have to guess how long he was, how big his head was, or anything. That was the carcass cast. We took that, pressed oil-based clay into that mold, and got a Bobcat, and then we started making it beautiful.
Amber has made
Yep.
a tremendous cat out of this.
And Amber made a really nice looking Bobcat out of clay. Again, we like to make the legs so they index on and off. We did have one over there, I don't know if we do. So we cut the legs off, they index on these square keys. We did have a foam one.
Yeah.
So anyway, we made separate legs, put the keys on them. Now, his front legs snap in, his back legs snap in. If you want them in different poses, cut that key off and you can rotate that leg any direction that you want to a degree, to a point if you want his legs forward a little or backward a little. Again, that's going to go in a small box for a small price compared to sticking that in a great big OS 2 or 3 box to get your Bobcat.
There's a chance for it to be broken too.
Yep. If you ever ordered forms, you order a lot of forms from companies, you get half the legs that are broken. You know, it's just the way. So we've got more Bobcats coming. We'll have this done soon, and we'll have a going down one. They'll come
one in the
complete.
freezer still.
Yep, come complete with their habitat. That you can order them with or make your own habitat.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
What else we got going over here?
Well, we've been working too, not just this stuff.
Not just this stuff too, yeah.
Um,
Deer, we're gonna have a deer mounting
Batch of whitetail.
extravaganza
Yeah.
here soon.
Yep, just starting to get calls for the first deer from last year, starting to get those done. I think we owe these guys a
Finishing on the one we've been working on, yeah?
Yep, so that's coming, we're getting ready for that. We try to do a little bit of this stuff in advance. So we're getting ready, we've got one deer for him to finish, we've mounted another. And then Amber's been going to town on some of the African stuff. The sable.
Sable, caribou, Cape Buffalo, we've got a herd of Cape Buffalo. Now these Cape Buffalo have been mounted, look kind of rough. That's kind of the nature of the Cape Buffalo. We will probably dye this skin, rebuild the inside of the nostrils, texture the noses just like a whitetail. They're just like a whitetail as far as the nodes and things like that we will rebuild. We've got stitches we need to hide.
Hey, that's a heck of a commercial for a Bob Father remounting stand too.
Yeah, look at both of these Cape Buffalo on a Bob Father remounting stand. This is not a light animal to put on that stand, and both of them were mounted on there. And on these Cape Buffalo, any of you that maybe haven't done these before, horns shrink. You know, everybody knows that's why there's a drying period with your antlered animals before you measure them. They actually do go through a drying out period that changes their score. With horned animals like buffalo, even the sable, this boss shrinks immensely. So we'll get our skin up here as far as we can, but we also will rebuild that boss and recolor it back to where it was, because this will have been considerably larger than what it was. So we make sure we do all of that. And these just kind of have got to the drying stage. This one was just mounted yesterday. So, and tell us what you got going here.
I think they've seen a little bit of this in the process. This was just a Pedestal Deer. He's a ranch deer. Great big deer with really pretty early season cape. Got a pedestal here, so there's a receiver inside the brisket that will receive that rod. The base is just kind of roughed out. We were given some predetermined dimensions. I think our customer has a nice piece of woodwork already made for it, so this will just sit on top as kind of a tabletop piece.
That's going to be a beautiful, beautiful deer.
Boy,
Nice medium short hair deer.
Yep. Probably typical of our October 1st type of deer, maybe. So big deer and kind of whitetail central going over here.
Yeah.
There's new deer stuff, all kinds of new deer stuff going on.
Here's new deer mannequins that will be coming out with yet this year. Whenever we do something like this, before you invest the money into a new deer mannequin, the sculptors have made some alterations to the head, to likes and dislikes and anatomical, aesthetic features that actually look nice. There's rights and wrongs. Any good deer taxidermist will say that they can take any form and make a good looking deer, which is true. We want to make a form that even the not so good taxidermist can make a good looking deer out
Easy
of.
to mount on, looks like a deer. And we've had some great feedback. We were able to get those heads into people's hands, make some changes to them this year. We've had
And this is 7.5. We'll be coming out with a 7 1/4, 7 3/4. But this is nothing more than change out head. You can, it's in probably online now, I think.
No.
Not yet?
No.
Oops.
Shh, Mandy.
No.
Mandy,
Cover
now
your
we know where the
ears, cover
angry
your
faces come. But we've got it. If anybody calls in, we've got it, and they can make it for you. This is a great, typical 7.5 inch for any of our Midwestern deer. Super rich in detail. Also, if you'll notice, this ear configuration here allows for a buttless ear to lay in here and an ear's back. This was always very wide in a lot of previous models, and it's narrower so that you can actually put the ear back in a more natural position, or it also fits for the ears forward.
Yep. Fits very nice for a pre-formed deer, but your
Nice,
beard's formed.
nice lip length. You don't have to compress your lip, but you also won't have your lip hanging way back here in an unnatural pose. Tear ducts, like any of our competitor's choice forms and stuff, that's a big benefit. This lobe actually lays over the underlying surface here, so that the tear duct gets tucked up and under. A lot of forms don't have that. Nice natural angle for the eyes. Also, it's got this ridge back here. When you cut your antler skull plate, it'll sit down in here. If it's extending way back, you did something wrong. If it's not laying down in here, you did something wrong. Just like the first deer that I ever mounted 40 years ago, I tipped him way up, couldn't figure out why the skull was way up here. I cut it off and played over it. Must have been an abnormal deer for the form. I learned a little bit in 40 years. Now that we like these have been incorporated in. We made hard auto body ones out of polyester putty, and then this is all clay. Ultra nice detail. That's
This head is the head that you have there.
Yes,
in the
it is.
hands, right?
and that's a semi-sneak, really attractive. Offset, if you look at all the shoulder here, there's lots of shoulder on this side, not as much on the other side. So you can get a whole nice sweeping turn on this deer, yet he won't look way off into the corner. So it's very pretty deer.
Attractive. And this is, we have two of these now?
Two of these now,
Fresh.
18.5 by 20s, 7.5, 18.5 by 20, and we'll be getting a lot more during the upcoming year.
Don't look for them in the catalog, but maybe online.
Call and ask. The molding, the sculpting and molding is not an instant thing, and if you want to do it right, it takes tons and tons of time and a lot of man hours, and you don't want to do it wrong and have to do it over again. So we try to spend a lot of time doing this stuff as accurately as we can.
Yep. And we've got some of the best in the business doing it.
We got some exceptional talent. We have unbelievable talent working on all of our products, including you.
You should show them this one. This is fun.
This is gonna be fun. It's not quite fun yet. This is a crocodile. The customer gave us an alligator pose that he liked and wants to copy. He wants the tail up in the air. He wanted the left side against the wall and the head, front third of the body turned out with the mouth open. So this one is on a barn board backing. When I asked about that, he didn't want any backing, which sounds kind of funny for the tail to be up in the air with it not doing anything. So I deliberated on it. I wake up at 3 in the morning and try to think about what I'm going to do with this crocodile. So I thought, what about, this is a basic research swimming crocodile. And I thought it's almost in the pose that he wants. So and the tail's up, which wouldn't be up in a walking crocodile. They call them skunks. But anyway, so what if we made a swimming crocodile? His head's going to be coming out at you. He'll be on a little pedestal. If you can get that head up a little closer to maybe waist high to chest high, this beast is going to look immense, and it's going to be extremely impressive. So that's the concept of this. He's swimming. The only difference in his pose is the feet are going to angle back in a graceful motion. Tail's up in the air. He needs to be a little bit bigger than this.
What's all this stuff?
Well, I opted to go with the artificial head just because the real head was fragrant. And we had it tanned, and it just, I don't think you're going to get that smell out of there. I mean, it is kind of nasty. And so I decided to make an artificial head, and I took the real head, I dammed it up. This is just Smooth-On's Rebound 25 with the help of Don Frank's advice. This is the top of the crocodile head. That's the top of the snout. hand me that one over there. This is the roof of the mouth. So I dam this whole thing up, and the Rebound 25 is kind of thixotrophic. It's kind of thick and it sets up reasonably fast. Nevertheless, Don, you said I would have this done in a day. This was a 5 to 6 day project to get what I got. Once I did this part, I made a mother mold to support that. I did that with the top. I did that with the bottom jaw. And then I had this other bright idea. I'm going to make the head out of auto body putty and fiberglass, the positive, which you'll probably see. I think you might get to see it next week. Yeah?
Wow. That's ambitious.
So I thought, how about dental acrylic that they make false teeth out of for the teeth, rather than Bondo and have to paint them, or rather than bird head material and have to paint them. So we have our nice little dental acrylic with a nice little mixer, and I can make real strong acrylic looking teeth in a very nice shade that looks crocodile-ish to me.
And I got a chip right here.
Yeah, let me open up. I can do it. Anyway, so my thinking is, I'm going to inject the teeth in all of the teeth voids. Then I'm going to use auto body putty to do the rest of the head. And then I'm going to reinforce it with fiberglass. Then I will put the bottom jaw together, top and bottom of the bottom jaw, top jaw together, top and bottom of the top jaw. And then we will conform it to this part of the head. And then it will go on to here.
Where's the motor go?
I know. You showed me one of those on
Cool.
Facebook. Did you see that? You showed me that.
It'd be pretty cool.
Anyway, that's the beginnings of the Crocodile, and it's an immense project. It's a huge, huge, huge project. So
We got a lot going on.
we do
A lot going on.
more deer heads here. Just all kinds of projects. So we try to show you this from time to time because we just have a lot of fun stuff that we're doing.
Well, and it's catalog time, so everything is coming together now, and we're trying to get all of the products in one place, new products. We've got, Mandy, how many? Did she say
400. She hits about 400 every single year. And we'll drop a few. We'll drop maybe 100-ish from the year before that weren't hot items like we thought they were going to be. And then she adds 4, and we are really turning into a big book. She adds tons of pages, and Vicki just does not like all these pages, because with pages, the checkbook comes out.
But we've got probably 20 or 30 of those new
Should we
products.
show them? Yeah. Okay. Some of this isn't new. We've added to the mule deer line, the Sagebrush series mule deer line, and any of you that are doing mule deer for the first time and want to have a nice looking mule deer, or any of you Western people who haven't tried these, the Sagebrush series mule deer can't be beat. I mean, we have some of the best feedback of any of our products, Sagebrush series mule deer.
We get pictures of those every week lately of people that have tried them for the first time that are posting them on Facebook.
People
and
love them.
socially. Yeah,
And we've got a pretty good selection, mostly in the semi-sneak division. We also have, and I don't think anybody carries anything like this. This is a early season, and it's under the Sagebrush name, and it's an early season for those archery deer and muzzleloader deer where they're not into the rut yet. They have a slender neck now. If you order even a small neck deer, other than this line, it's going to be tapered like that, and it's going to be it's not going to look like that deer was. These would be like these velvet deer that people are actually shooting right now, probably.
Yep, right now, seeing them on Facebook every day right now.
Yep.
Archery deer, muzzleloader deer going on Utah.
And these make a very, very, very nice looking deer. And Mandy, incidentally, we haven't written any of this stuff out of inventory. Ha.
Oh,
Ha.
you weren't gonna tell.
I promise we'll put it back. Put it back right where we got it. Tell them about this. This is a fascinating thing. First, tell them about these.
So this is our 200 WT. It's a buttless ear liner. We did this probably 6-7 years ago. We slipped an ear, slipped all the hair off of it, made a mold of the cartilage with all of the inner ear detail, and then took it home and sanded it and sanded it and sanded it and sanded it and fixed perfections. And just like the Harley Davidson gas fender, we fixed it with Bondo and so forth, and came up with a prototype. Then we were able to make, you had made a mold for a Zahner style, similar to the thermoform plastic, so you could make them that way. And this is a great ear. It is made off of a cast. It accommodates the inner ear. It does not have any detail on
And
the
I remember you
inside.
sanding that out for hours and
Oh
hours and
yeah,
hours and
yeah.
hours.
We had to take all the nice detail that we had cast. We had to take all of that out to get this one. But lots of work went into it. But we're pretty excited. It makes a really nice whitetail ear, and these things stick. They stick so nice.
Yeah,
The
they do. They
thermal
stick
form.
because they have a texture. We have these in, I think, 80 some species. We got impala. I think we got 3 sizes of kudu. We got zebra. Doug Rolfer sent us giraffe ears that we made a mold out of the giraffe ears. We have big bears, little bears, gemsbuck, a couple sizes of gemsbuck, and I think we have the largest selection of these. People call them celastic. They're not actually celastic. Celastic used to be a term for a paper that was impregnated with resin, and you would run it through acetone and it turned like a wet noodle, and you would shape it over a mold. These were originally celastic 30 years ago, and then I think celastic probably caused you to have a little catch
You
and
used
get
it a
along
lot.
or something. Yeah, I used a lot of celastic. Anyway, now it's a thermoform plastic, and we have to adapt all the time. When celastic went away, Gary Zahner still had this company, and I'm sure he panicked. What am I going to do without celastic? You can't get it anymore. Everybody went to thermoform plastic. This is actually heated up plastic, slipped over that mold.
Yeah.
So, Brett,
And
you decided that an ears forward would be, I mean, with this type of an ear liner, you saw us use it on that deer we've been mounting. On that type of an ear liner, you're required to build the ear butt out of clay, or do some kind of clay to shape that. Brett the other day decided that somebody needs to make an ears forward.
So today we would have this,
Yep.
and we would build this with clay.
Yep.
It gives us some flexibility. You've got lots of options with this ear. However, if there's a high demand for an ears forward, just a standard ears forward pre-built ear butt, and we
Look at that.
spent some time trying to develop this. It's got very nice detail.
Not just anybody can make this. This was not easy.
But the neat thing about this is you have a pre-formed ear butt now that it's going to take a lot less clay, a lot less work on the taxidermist part to have a very consistent forward-looking ear. And this required some
Engineering.
little bit of engineering.
I mean, look at the muscle and the detail in that. That's really accurate.
We were pretty excited about this, so we spent some time sculpting a prototype, crossed our fingers, pulled one out, took it through Sherry downstairs, who is
Sherry the ear lady.
yes, who makes hundreds of these things, and said, "What do you think?" And the best part was she didn't say no way. She's been a sport. We went down several times with a few different renditions of how we were going to mold it, and I think we've got it down now. So
I mean, look at the nice edges on this. A lot of people use these type of fabric form ear liners, thermoform ear liners, with the cartilage in. They're thin enough you can use them with the cartilage in.
Yeah.
They're just a great product.
And before we leave the ear liner, we've also got the 200. This is the 200 WT. We've got the 200 MD to go with those mule deer.
Those are a fabulous
the
ear.
nicest mule deer
ear in the
liner
market.
out there.
Yeah.
If you haven't tried them, definitely need to try them. Those 200 MDs are unbeatable. They're
And
very
in the
easily
elk series
trimmed.
too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
along
fabulous.
with all the zinger ones, but some really nice ears to go with those mule deer.
Yeah, don't order one of these without the mule deer ear liners to go with it.
What's next?
Oh man, I don't know where to start. Okay, here's the effort that we go to make you good products. Just like what Brett went through to make this Ears Forward ear. We've had a lot of call from southern taxidermists, Oklahoma, Texas, who these whitetail heads just don't fit their whitetail. Kenny Bauman called me, oh man, 4 years ago I bet, said you guys gotta come out with a whitetail mannequin to fit our deer. And they describe it on the phone and the measurements just don't jive with what we're used to up here. We actually went to Oklahoma, down to Andy's Taxidermy in Oklahoma, and we had to shoot deer as part of this job. I mean, it was, somebody has to do it. We hunted whitetails down there, but Andy actually has a processing plant, and we measured deer day in and day out. I mean, you'd hunt in the morning, you'd hunt at night, but the rest of the day, people were bringing in deer, and we would measure, we would caliper all these. We'd skin them out, we would make casts of the head, molds of the head, skin out the body, make molds of the body, and what we found out is, this is a 7-inch nose to eye. This looks like a very large deer. If I showed it to most people, taxidermists, they say, yep, 7.5, typical 7.5, what we have. That's only 7 inches. That's a 7-inch nose to eye. They're wider. We measured, we brought skulls back, we brought carcasses back, we measured them and remeasured them and remeasured them. They're shorter, they're deeper from here to here, and we sculpted them with the same bells and whistles that our new whitetail will have. They'll have a receiving area for the ears forward, ears back. Same great tear duct detail, same great eye depth, but they're just a little bit different than ours. And we also found that their necks seem to be about 1 inch to 1.5 inches shorter than our deer. So now Andy, he's been bugging everybody for these because we did this a year ago and he has not seen any progress. The boys have come up with this prototype. This will get molded really, really soon for you, and you're going to get a whole box of them, and you give them to all your taxidermy friends down there and chop off the heads on the forms you're mounting and try these. And if you say go, these will be onto shoulders, necks and shoulders soon.
Yep, pretty exciting.
It's a great product, great product.
We were at the Missouri show just a month ago, and several Oklahoma people down there, same thing. Love our mannequin, can't quite make it fit.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting.
We've got grizzly bear rub shells. Terry Marquardt in Alaska has been asking for these, and we sculpted a couple. Cindy Chrisman sculpted us a couple grizzly. We carcass cast. He was gracious enough to send us from Fish and Game frozen grizzly skulls, which we made carcass casts from. They went to Cindy Chrisman, who turned those carcass casts into change-out heads. Now that we know the change-out heads mount up like a grizzly, now we make those into some closed-mouth rub shells, and eventually they'll get to be into open-mouth rub shells.
Pretty exciting.
These are some of Cindy's Bobcats, and we sent her some skulls, and we have a small, medium, and a large. This is a pretty decent size Bobcat change-out head. And we have a medium. And we have a little bitty kitty.
Pretty cool, but
Brett got a sad look when he looked at that one. Here, tell them about this. You've been
what do you got?
using these a lot.
Oh man, we've done separate videos, we've done seminars. Pan pastels are something new to our shop. They've been around for quite a while. We might be coming a little bit late to the game, but they are working their way to the front of our painting paint process mediums. We've got them in kits for fish. We've got them in kits for birds, mammal
Game
finishing.
finishing.
Yep. We're finding more and more use for them every day. Just did a whole bunch. This is actually a fish that was started at the Missouri show for a seminar. I think that's even posted on our Facebook. But tons of pan pastels on there. That whole belly area, all up in the head. That's all thanks to pan pastels. Super simple, easy to go on. That's a troublesome area for a lot of restoration, color restoration on a smallmouth bass.
Ooh, that looks very nice and natural.
Pretty soft, pretty simple to apply, and
Pretty forgiving.
very, very forgiving. So, pan pastels are something that we're super excited about, using them more and more, and hope you guys are too. Hope you're having some success with them. What else?
Here, show this.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I will. Look at this. Everybody knows I've been a fan of these for quite a while, and we'll say I had another birthday this year. And with that came the need for a little higher power glasses. We started these in 2 power and thought, I think I graduated to 3 powers. So we just got the 3 power glasses in, and I love them. They're no different magnification wise than you would your cheaters that you get at Walmart, but these make it that much better. And I think for those of us that might have left the lights on our desk
got
a
batteries
time or
now.
two, yeah, we've got batteries for them, and they're inexpensive.
Yes, those are online.
Yeah, and so they're online now?
Yes.
Cool.
It's
So you
been
can
kind
get
of fun
those.
because I've known Brett since 19 what?
96.
You little bitty guy. And however, his vision was always like Jaworski type vision. I mean, like he'd say, "You see this?" and all I could do is nod because I didn't really see it. And after he's gone, I'd get out my visor and I'd look, and oh, now I can see it. But he's always had remarkable vision, and I'm kind of catching up. He's got over 3 powers. This is pretty good. But they come in a nice carrying case. Come in no magnification.
Yes, for safety.
Safety.
Just safety
Or
glasses.
what's the lowest we have? Do we have 1.5 or
2.
two?
think it's
2 and 3. Yeah.
Yep. And that's a kind of a nice thing. Any of you guys doing competition stuff, don't attempt it without magnification.
And the light makes a tremendous amount of difference. You can't imagine how much difference just having that light available makes. It really helps. So,
And this year's catalog, we're going to have Corey Carruthers, I think, is bringing up at least maybe a dozen or more new heads. I know we got king eider heads. People have been asking for those. Look at the detail on this. Is that not great?
this is super exciting for our bird guys. Corey does, I think, I might be prejudiced, but I think the best ones out there. Sorry, Mikey. Sorry, some of the guys out.
They're nice.
but,
They're nice.
Corey's heads are tremendous, and we get calls for those gaps or missing ones.
Yeah.
Over and
Okay.
over, and that king eider's gonna fill some space.
One of my first shows that I ever took Corey's heads to, and I might have said this last time too. I went to one of the world shows at maybe Springfield or something, and Erling Mork, who I didn't know at the time, was the developer with Frank Newmeyer for Europe Eyes, I think. Erling came by, and you think you're really important when these foreign guys talk to you and stuff, and I didn't know who he was. And he comes up and he looked at one of Corey's heads and he said, "Whose heads are these?" And I said, "Corey Carruthers." "Corey's." He said, "These are the finest heads in the world." And to hear that from Erling was pretty fabulous to us. But Corey has not, his quality's just getting better and better. But that was the old style head. Now, these things almost quack. They're good. They're really a good product.
I think it's worth saying. I don't think it goes in the catalog if it's not. I think that's been the filter for the 500 or 600 items. That's how we're down to 400. Is if it's not a super high quality item, it doesn't go in the catalog.
I've
So we're pretty proud of that.
always been proud of ourselves for not carrying junk. You know, if something doesn't work, if we mount these and they don't look like a Bobcat and there's a problem with them, they immediately go to the sculptor, it gets corrected and remolded. We remold stuff all the time, correcting blems or, I mean, even cosmetic things, but mostly stuff that doesn't look like a deer, that doesn't look like an ear, that doesn't look like a Bobcat, it gets redone. I mean, we're striving for perfection all the time.
Well, the cool thing is, or fun thing for us, is we get to use this stuff.
Yeah.
And this is another one. Mandy brought it to us, and a glove is a glove is a glove, right? Unless.
And these are, what are they called?
Nitrile.
Nitrile
And-
gloves.
And
Way stronger than the latex.
much stronger, and you can't appreciate them until you use them. I skinned a fish. Fish smell on your fingers has always been a battle that we fight, and thought I know I've got to run out in the showroom. I know I'm going to have other responsibilities today. I'm going to skin fish with some gloves on. I hate doing it, but they keep talking about these black gloves. I made it through a fish and a half before I had to take them off, not because they were broken, but because I had other things I had to do, and
They're strong.
they worked great. They worked really well. They're not so thick that you can't feel through them. I like to be able to feel anything. That's my biggest reason I wouldn't wear gloves, and these are pretty nice. So again, something we use and kind of stand behind.
And if you're one of those people, we wash our ears in lacquer thinner.
Yep.
Or birds. I like to wash my birds. Jim Kimball taught me a long time ago, wash your birds in lacquer thinner. That will just eat the latex gloves. It'll just eat them to pieces. Dip them in lacquer thinner, they fall right off your hands. Lacquer thinner will eventually eat through these, but you can almost get a whole bird wash without having that happen.
Yep, pretty cool stuff. And now I think you should show them what we're really excited about, the fun stuff.
Look at this.
Half a tree.
I mean, some of the, I might have grabbed some that we already have just because I was so excited about it. Yeah, this is like half a tree. This thing weighs, I would say, a pound, under 2 pounds. And it's made out of 10-pound density foam. It's extremely strong. You can put a flying goose on here. You can put a great big old muskie on here. Any of the wood in the back on these pieces of wood is usually doubled so that you can put a bolt on or a nut on and tighten down a threaded rod, or you can double over your wire.
Branches are all reinforced with wire.
Every one of these branches has a strip of wire going
Even
down.
this one.
Yeah, even that little one. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's just an example of our wood. This is a portion. The branch is coming out this week. Look at this bark slab. This is our turkey roost. We've got a really nice old snaggy branch coming off of here, which will be reinforced. Hole goes through here. You tighten it down for shipping. It'll go in a little box.
I overheard that conversation while you and Amber were putting that together. Will this go in a box? It was test fit into
Yeah, we
our
actually
box.
test fit it in a box. I mean, one little nubbin off to one side jumps it up $10 in your shipping.
Yeah.
So we're trying to think of you guys. When that branch is tightened in here, there is no visible seam. It's like a real branch coming off of a tree, and it'll support your biggest turkey.
Super exciting, and we've even looked at this laid on its side with
Oh,
the
yeah.
branch in the air for a
With
pretty
a
cool
bobcat, you
tabletop.
can have a bobcat or a coon climbing down it. It's just very
That's an
versatile.
exciting one. How many pieces of driftwood do you think we have coming?
I think we have a lot.
How many, Mandy?
We have a lot.
But it is so popular. We've always had, in the years past, we've had people call and say, can you pick me out something I can, a perch, something I can stand a pheasant on, or a mallard on, or a grouse on, or something like that. So we actually came up with, we call it perch driftwood. If you don't want to use the perch, we use this for fish. We cut that old branch off.
Walleye driftwood?
Yeah, moss over it, and put a fish on it. You know, it'll hold a nice largemouth bass. Or you want a couple, you want one up here, one down here. Or what we initially designed it for was to, put a wood duck sitting on there.
One of Ron Graham's grouse?
Ron Graham, if you want to do a grouse, I would Hold on, I'm gonna grab it here. Pick yourself up a little of this nice pine, put it on there, maybe a little bit of snow and a ruffed grouse on there, and how much more realistic can it get? And you don't have to wonder what kind of piece you're gonna get because it's the same time after time. And it comes, all this stuff comes in different colors. I wouldn't doubt you can even request a special color.
Yeah, we hand paint all of them.
Watch me catch heck for that one. But you could, I mean, you could have a flushing pheasant that's off the wall, suspended off the wall a little bit. You can set it on a table and have a mink climbing up it, or a fish display. You know, you can do all kinds of things.
The gals downstairs have a real piece of driftwood right next to them when they paint all these.
They do, they do. And if you want to put rocks, we have the best artificial rocks in the world. These things are so realistic. Oh man, that wasn't one of them.
My toe.
Oh, sorry.
Poor Cindy downstairs.
I think I meant something like that.
What's that one sound like when it hits the ground?
Later. But you can take these rocks, whether it's a fish or ground habitat or whatever it happens to be, and you can attach these onto here.
I'd like to do we'll do a live at some point on
We will.
habitat and show how we use this driftwood, because we use it in the shop. Oh my gosh. For every fish display we do.
Yeah, I run downstairs in the supply company and I grab a handful of these. The rocks come, there's different color schemes and things like that. The only thing in the catalog, it's a little difficult to see how big you're getting. And we give directions, like this is probably 4 inches by 6 inches, you know. This one's bigger, you know. But by seeing and holding them, I think we need a model. Like the Tasco girl. I'm gonna find that Tasco girl that Dan Reinhardt had, and then she can model these. But we've even got big ones. We have wall habitat for wall pedestals on deer coming. You can take something like this. Some of them come with it.
Yeah.
Or you can take something like this, add it to your wall pedestal. It wraps around your deer shoulders on your deer.
Yeah. We've got clusters like that, or singles. You can build your own. We've got a whole variety
Look
of
at the
singles.
size of this.
Here's one of those other driftwood colors. That's
Yeah, there's a
weathered.
lighter one.
Weathered?
That
do
would
they call
work good, yeah. That would work good on a big old giant crappie like Jimmy Lawrence gets down there, you know, sideways. You know, largemouth. Mink walking along. Mink walking along with little rocks. Mink walking along with little rocks and little pine. Mink walking along with rocks and pine and snow. I mean, it never ends. We call it, I started out calling this basematic because you add, like arithmetic, a base. You add this, you add this, you add this to equal a stunning display.
Jackie Matuska says, looking good, Mom and Dad are on their way.
Oh, good. They're already here. I think your mom's sitting in the car right now because I can't get there. And look at this cool thing. This is just, we don't throw these together. We actually select really aesthetic looking pieces. This is, I call them river rocks. They're just smoother, something that's been eroded a little bit to a smoother look with a little artsy piece of wood. This can
That
be
was
made-
my new favorite, I
Those
think.
are all attached, pre-attached.
These are all
so that
attached.
comes just like that.
Don't cut them off.
Or cut them off if you need to. Put your.
This
put
is a
your,
baked potato. Jackie Matuska, let me tell you a story since you're on here real quick. Your Uncle Al one time was at dinner, like for Thanksgiving or Easter, we were out there and we were making a roast. And I was out in the yard and I found these rocks that looked like baked potatoes. They looked exactly like baked potatoes, just like that. Only they were colored like baked potatoes. So I had this bright idea. I'm going to stick them in Uncle Don's potato drawer because he's going to make potatoes, you know. I put them in Uncle Don's, you know, potato drawer and he goes, okay, who's the wise guy? So he found them and it was kind of funny. But Uncle Al hadn't seen this yet. So on Uncle Al's plate, we took one of these, wrapped it in foil, put it on his plate. Unbeknownst to me, he's a germaphobe. He wouldn't eat his meat, he wouldn't eat anything because of a rock on his plate.
And you're
Funny
not
story.
allowed for family dinner
Haven't
anymore?
been asked back since. But anyway, that's about as cool as it gets.
Another one here, no wood. This is all just a composition of rocks. And this can be added to, it can be cut. Again, it's all foam, but it's reinforced with wood. Really, really exciting for your fish displays, bird displays. This works on the table as well as on the wall. Just some really cool
Now,
stuff.
most of these rocks come, if I'm not mistaken, they come with a wash coat. Is that right, Kirsten?
The individual rocks, I know they do.
So you can paint them yourself. They actually have
Painted and
a
unpainted.
wash which picks up detail, and you can paint them yourself for a fraction of the cost. Or you can buy them all pre-painted, but some people just like to do their own thing. They want the shape to start with, and they can paint them themselves if they like to do that.
And then some more of our shop favorites we're going to have, or we have now available online. I think these are the flexible poles. This
Yes.
is one of Amber's favorites. I think there's a number right in there.
Yeah, those are handy. You just mix your
Those are the
machining or
extra
whatever it
large
happens to be, and don't trip over my boulder that fell in. And you just crunch it and knock it right out. Oh, here's your favorite. Go ahead and tell them about this.
Well,
Ooh.
this is new to the
Let me tell a
catalog
story.
for this year.
Let me tell a story. I'm at the Minnesota show, and Jimmy Willard says, you don't know anybody that's looking for a custom Micron airbrush by Iwata. I've always wanted a custom Micron airbrush from Iwata. They're like a $700-800 airbrush, you know? And I figured he's trying to sell it. So I'm not going to say yes me, because then he's going to try to sell it to me. So I said, you know, Brett's always wanted a custom Micron airbrush. So he said, well, send him over. And so pretty soon Brett comes out and he says, look what Jimmy Willard gave me, a custom Micron airbrush. Wait a minute, let's back up a few hours here. I want one now. And he only had one and gave it to you.
He did. It went very similar to that. He actually shipped it to me with a very nice card, and it has made a tremendous difference in the fish work that I've had the opportunity to do. I wouldn't have been able to afford that brush myself. I just wouldn't have, probably never would have done it.
But you would now that you've had it.
But now that I've had it, I wouldn't be without it. In fact, have been back in this shop several times, preaching its wonders, and finally, have convinced Tom that it's worthy of carrying. And this one, I believe, is Tom's personal custom.
And I've already dropped it, and I've already had to buy a new needle and a new nozzle and a new crown cap, because I bent everything up just by dropping it off the floor, which don't buy one without your airbrush holder.
Yes, absolutely. But really, really exciting. Are we going to carry this, or is this a drop ship?
Yes, it's
We're gonna
online
have
already.
it
Online already.
Yes.
Any of you guys that are getting ready for the world, I know the show is coming up. We're talking about May-ish. If you're looking to make an investment that will make a difference in your work, a notable difference, it is something worth checking into.
I have watched Brett outline scales with his custom Micron on a walleye, and I just sat there and thought, I wonder how long it's going to be before that gums up and doesn't spray anymore. Usually, you know, it'll go a little ways, and then you can't get it, and then you got too much, and now this doesn't look the same as this looks, the same as that looks. It's unbelievable how nice of an airbrush this is.
Pretty exciting. Neat that we have that. And couple that with nice quiet
grab
little
that thing.
compressor.
Show 'em that.
Mandy's yelling at us.
Oh.
Sharpen air
Sharpen air.
for your broken needles.
I do have my broken needle, and I will use a Sharpen Air airbrush needle sharpener, and they work like a charm.
Everybody needs to have one of those. Those could save your goose if you're getting close to show deadline
And don't have time to wait to order one.
Yep. So those Sharpen Air needle repair units are pretty cool.
Is she sitting at the casino? She can't be on her phone when she's at one of them tables.
They don't like that. I'm gonna get kicked out. So couple your custom Micron with a new Pastel compressor. These are very handy.
This is a great compressor.
Quiet, very quiet. You can talk over this. It comes with a little muffler that screws in over here on the side.
Brett thought his was a little loud, and so I got one, and I put it all together and started it up, and I thought, I wonder why he thinks it's so loud. And I said, he said, yours is not as loud as mine is. Well, he didn't have the muffler.
I don't have a muffler.
He doesn't have a muffler.
This little jobber here makes all the difference. So, nice little compressor, gallon and a half? Gallon and a half. But it's quiet, you can function, it's not one of those
two air brushes, it's got a gauge in and a gauge out. So it'll tell you how much you're
regulators on each. It just does super nice and makes it really, you can actually sit and paint and not have to leave the room when the compressor kicks on.
And it's it'll run staplers, air nailers.
Yep.
Probably not any of your air tools like your mini fleshers or anything like that, but it'll run any of those other ones.
Yep, they do. It does very well.
We got giveaway.
Giveaways and stuff to do. We're running out of time. We thought we were going to be.
I know. We thought we were going to have to talk real slow for you to make this last. What did we give away? We gave away. Do we get angle brush?
Yes.
Yes.
Angle brush. And who's our lucky winner?
Logan Mulchler.
Logan, congratulations! You get an angle brush.
And this week's giveaway is
help me out.
Ta-da!
the new Ultimate Ear Liners.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Set of new ear liners.
Nice.
By Carrie Cochran.
Right. Very good.
Carrie Cochran earliners.
And Carrie Cochran, I guess I first ever heard of him. He used to judge shows years ago, and he was with Buckeye, who then went to Matrix Masters, who then went to Ohio, but the original Buckeye was Carrie Cochran, and Carrie Cochran is an authority in
Whitetail deer.
most taxidermy circles, but especially in whitetail deer. Carrie has developed with Mike Noonkester a great ear liner. It has texture. Do you have a flyer of it online?
Not online, but I can show you.
And they
one
were supposed to come in
right
today,
now.
but they didn't come in today, so
But
they should be here tomorrow. Very similar injection molded ear liner. I can hold that for you. There's a picture of Carrie and the ear liners.
So that's this week's giveaway. So
Yeah.
they need to comment,
Comment.
Tag a friend.
tag a friend, share,
Share.
share.
You got it last week.
Sunny.
And share. And as soon as these come in, we will pick a winner next week and get a set to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great ear liner. We've had our samples. Matter of fact, did we use them on
Yes.
that deer right there?
Speaking of that
Yes.
deer, next week,
Oh, finish work.
Oh, yes.
We'll probably do finish work for you on that deer. Then that kind of concludes our
Wrap up our whitetail.
whitetail seminar that's
Yep.
been going on for a
Oh,
long time.
man.
And
7
we really,
weeks.
we really have to get back to our largemouth bass.
Yep, we've got a bass sitting over there. We have a lot of stuff we've talked about covering.
One of these times we want to show you repairs, and I was working on a gazelle, a Grant's gazelle that's in 100 years old, and it's sentimental value. And I started using the pan pastels and was just amazed at how, this gazelle's going to look almost like brand new.
Yep, we had a rainbow trout that went through a fire.
Yeah.
That would have been a good one for our repairs. We've got a couple customers that are waiting for some, so I bet we can get a pile of
We
repairs
have
together.
we do, part of this business, you have to fix what happened to some of these things. We have another deer, white-tailed deer, beautiful
Oh,
white-tailed deer that must have fallen on his nose, because we mounted it a couple years ago and did a really nice job of inside of the nostril detail and things like that, but when they hit the floor in their nose, it's like that. So we got to fix that. And that's just part of this business, and you have to get kind of creative with some of those things. So we're going to show you that in the weeks to come also.
Yep.
all right.
All right.
Wrap
Good
her
luck,
up.
Mandy.
Put another quarter in for me.